evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to Minority Caucus. My name is Nana Kofi Opon Dama. Tonight we are discussing the EC's response to the NPP's petition. And no, we are not going to engage in the legalese of it. I'm not going to say here today and tell you that I put it to you or any of those other legal terms. I have very limited knowledge in that. But we're just going to look at the wording of the document as it stands now and the logic behind it. We mean to do this Mr. Sakasalia of the NPP communications team and Mr. the Honorable, Right Honorable Emeritus and all other titles, Asamoah Gyamfi.
Honorable Servant.
Thank you very much, Kofi.
Okay. First of all, let me say that today I'm a very, very happy person because I've been proved to be quite significant in the affairs of this nation in terms of our politics. My car, my small, humble i10 was broken into, and then some documents that are of very little significance to our court case was taken away. To those who did that, kudos. You've made me feel very important in the affairs of our national politics. I felt that I was insignificant. I was just walking about, but thank you. It only goes to encourage me to do more of what it is that we've been doing, and there will be better and bigger performances, hopefully, by the grace of God from now onwards. But down to the hard business of it. Today, the NPP held a press conference. Today, the NPP held a press conference, and what we said and how we said it, how we went about it. I'll take my first break at this point, and when we come back, we'll continue with the discussion. Okay, so the Electoral Commission said that everything that the NPP has to say in its petition lacks merit, it is bogus, and that the court should throw it away. First of all, let me come to my studio guest. Mr. Asamoah Gyamfi, what is your impression of the total response that the EC has filed?
Excuse my language, but I think that Dr. Frejan is beating around the bush. You know, he's just trying to talk about definition, you know, and trying to explain things away. And to me, for him to even admit that there were genuine errors, per Dr. Farajan's analysis of genuine errors, I have the right to get angry. So when I get angry, I should pull a knife and then stab Sakasali. Then when they take me to court, I say, my Lord, you know, I have a disposition. When I get angry, I pull knife. And unfortunately, Sakasali was there, so I stabbed him. So forgive me. You see, last 2 weeks when I came, I read a certain statement. This is a book, okay? A guide to parliament candidates and party agents. Issued by the Electoral Commission. Signed by Dr. Farajan himself. Page 17. It says something, and I want to read. It is on electoral offenses, okay? It says that, just a portion of it, an election offense refers to any act or omission in connection with an election that constitute a corrupt practice under the electoral laws and regulations. So he himself, saying that they pick figures from somewhere and admitting it is no excuse. All right? It is absolutely no excuse. And so he should rather be humble, because when you look at certain portions of his claim, statement of claim, he's just trying to rubbish every other thing that the NPP is talking about. And not even telling the court that the court should access to bring evidence. The evidence, yes, we have. But he shouldn't hide behind calculations. Now he thinks that he's done some arithmetic there, and we got it wrong. So because we got it wrong, our case should be thrown out. And yet he admits that in one of our claims that there's about 127,000 votes. That one, he admits that. Okay? But like the national chairman said today, we are really going to meet him in court. We have the hard evidence. We think that the evidence weighs heavily against him. And he himself is going to be shocked. Another thing, his conclusion statement of claim, that at all times we had our agents there, right? And that our agents had the power to call for recount. These figures, it's not about recount. It's about falsification of results, where the one who holds the pen is determining what to write. Okay? And per the same rule that the polling agent do not have the right to interfere in the work of the presiding officer, in the work which includes the writing of figures onto the statement of poll or the receipt. And so I don't know whether he understands the import of our evidence. Because when we say overvote, I think he thinks that we are talking about total number of votes being more than total registered voters.
No problem. So at this stage, let me bring in Sakasale. Your opening comment on this matter.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kofi. Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Good evening to you.
He's been speaking in the afternoon.
Yeah. Good evening to our cherished viewers and everybody. Yes, first of all, when I watch the Electoral Commission's defense, even though I am not a lawyer, the only irresistible conclusion that I got to was that these people do not have a case. Because you could see that they have not even been able to tackle any of the situations, the offenses that they caused that we have taken them to court. They have not been able to go and tackle it and tell us that in this case we're wrong or that. What they are doing is that they have now hidden behind the polling agents, by what you just mentioned, hiding behind polling agents to say that all the things that we said we could have made our polling agents to ask for recounts and all that. And if you look at even the overall figure that they came out with, they themselves had admitted that it was an error on their part to have given that, and even that had to even change the overall percentage and all that. So, I mean, looking at the whole defense, you could see that the EC do not have defense at all. But it's just that they must also just appear or write something, to signify that they also want to fight the case in court. I can now understand the reason why NDC is really trying hard to come for a joinder. Because if that is the defense of the EC, then of course I don't think that the EC has anything to defend here. Because it's so clear, overwhelming, that the evidence that MPP is presenting, because they are saying, they are now asking, even without seeing our evidence, they are saying that we do not have case.
Okay.
Without seeing your opponent evidence, you say the opponent do not have case. So how about when we present the evidence? Because we know all the allegations that we made, or you can call them allegations at this point because there has not been a ruling on it. All those allegations that we made, we have evidence to prove it.
Okay.
And before the evidence comes, I don't think that it lies in the mouth of the EC to tell us that all the things that we have said amounts to nothing. It is the Supreme Court that will come out with a judgment. And I know and I believe that at the end of the day, justice will prevail.
Saka, now let's deal with some matters. I found it irresistibly funny or humorous when I heard the explanation that the signatures of the presiding officers may not have appeared on the duplicates that were given to the NPP because of the fact that it's a quintuplet, 8, carbon copy thing. So the signatures could not have penetrated down. What is interesting in all of this is that the names managed to come to the same sheet of papers. All the other party representatives managed to write their names and sign, and they appeared to every one of them. But only the Electoral Commission's presiding officer's signature, perhaps because of how strong the paper was, and the paper was meant to resist the signature of the Electoral Commission's presiding. What?
Yeah, I mean, it's laughable, Kofi. It's laughable because this is not a particular a polling station matter that we are talking about. This is this is a sheet that cuts across the whole nation. So are they trying to tell us that anytime they are duplicating, the MPP one always lie at the end?
It's number 3
and
actually.
Even in any case, I am not sure that a name can appear very clearly. But when it comes to signature, it will not appear. If it does not appear, whose fault is it? But I think that these are some of the, you see, a drowning man will clutch to a straw just for survival. I think that this defense that the Electoral Commission is, or the Caucus, including the NDC, is coming out with, is highly indefensible. Because you cannot use such defense in court. Because it beat my imagination that any sane person can come out with such rationalization. Because, I mean, how can you tell us that because of, duplication, it's not been able to come out clearly in the sheet? I think this is a defense that any right-thinking person, if you are a lawyer, a judge, will just throw out and penalize such person who is making it with a big fund. I think that at the end of the day, this case, the NDC and the Electoral Commission should, make sure that they get a lot of money to pay for fund. Because actually, why would you come out with such a defense? Because, like we are saying, it's not only that. We have so many other evidence that we are talking about. Okay. We are talking about biometric verification.
We'll go into that. We'll go into that. But let me bring in Mr. Samajemfi at this point as well. Mr. Samajemfi, I'm reading to you point 19 of the EC's response, and this is what it says. As regards ground 3, the second respondent says the word aggregate is defined as, and they are defining from this point, a mass or body of units or parts somewhat loosely associated with one another, a total considered with reference to its constituent parts, or mineral material such as sandstone used in the making of concrete. And they use the Farlex dictionary. However, in the petitioner's ground 3, the word aggregate is ubiquitously used as a magic word without any indication as to how the number of votes in the table and in paragraph 21 of the petition was arrived at. Interestingly, in a valid defense of this sort, when you are seeking to defend allegations of electoral malpractice, the Electoral Commission says, one word out of a paragraph is problematic, and so that is their defense. Mr. Samo.
You see, we are talking, the collation of electoral results is an aggregate of polling station results.
And for the sake of the listeners and the viewers, let me break it down. Point 19 basically says that in the NPP's petition, we use the word aggregate. Now, they are saying that they cannot understand aggregate as used in the context that we used it in ground 3 of our petition, because aggregate can also mean sand and stone used in the making of concrete.
My goodness.
I'm repeating. They are saying that because aggregate has another meaning as sand and stone used in the making of concrete, they cannot understand how we have used that word in the context of our petition.
That's what I'm saying. A polling station resource is declared based upon the total aggregate of what Mahama got, everybody got, plus spoiled ballots. Is that not it?
Yeah.
That can also be defined as aggregate. Aggregate is components being brought together to constitute something. So if we say that an aggregate of certain numbers, shows that there was malpractice, I don't see why we're not talking about block entirely here or concrete. You see, clearly, they are not responding to the evidence that we have adduced. They were overvoting, and that's why I wanted to go there. They are misconstruing our overvoting as against total number of votes declared to total number of people registered at the polling station.
And for some clarification here, just a little bit of clarification, for the sake, once again, of the viewers and listeners out there in the public domain. I have heard some very fallacious arguments being made that overvoting can only occur when the total number of people on the register at a polling station, we find out that the people who voted is more than the total number of people registered at the polling station. The proponents of this argument are Felix Ofosu-Kwakye and co. Now, let's simplify this again. Assuming that at Multi-TV, Minority Caucus polling station, there are 100 people registered. The NDC is arguing that unless the number of votes that turns out in the ballot box is about more than 100, that is 101 and above, there is no overvoting. We are saying that at that particular polling station, Minority Caucus polling station, where 100 people have registered, people will come and we will issue ballot sheets. this is a book, assuming, that contains 100 ballot sheets that are to be used in voting. If at the end of the day, we realize that we've given out 50 ballot papers from this ballot booklet, and then we open the ballot box and we find out that there are 79 instead of 50, it means 29 strange materials have gone in there. And so there's overvoting. This the NDC cannot understand.
Not the NDC.
The Electoral Commission seems to be arguing along the same line.
You see, if you look at the receipt, in fact, the official name is Statement of Poll of Declaration.
And I would hold it up.
There is a question there. Okay, B. Okay, no, that's C, ballot C. It says ballot accounting to be filled at the end of poll before counting begins. And the first question is this, okay? What is the number of ballot issued to voters on the polling station register? That must be written first before balloting counting starts. Now, we have evidence that in one of the polling stations...
In more than one, in some of them.
Yes, that the officer wrote 277 ballot papers were issued. But at the count, total votes declared. The question there also is that the total votes in the box. So what it means is that the 227 that were issued should be equivalent to 227 in the ballot box. Now the officer go and write 297.
291 actually.
291. So if the officer writes 291, that votes in difference is what we are saying is overvoting. Okay? So I think that, and you see, I wonder, because all of these questions have regulations governing it. The reason why these questions are there is for ballot auditing and accounting. It is in this same principle, okay, that made the presiding officer in one of the returning officer in one of the polling stations in Bronafo cancel the results of a polling station because one ballot exceeded it.
Okay. Now, on the point of the signatures, again, I'd want to show it to everybody so we can all get a clear idea. You can see here, I'm waiting for the cameraman. If you look at it carefully, you can see that all throughout this side, you can see, if you look at it carefully, you can see that all the party agents and their names are there. And then the presiding officer's name and his signature.
Yeah.
Now, the explanation that is being given by the EC is that because it is quintuplet, sometimes this signature did not come. This signature, the presiding officer's signature, did not come because the presiding officers did not write deep enough when everybody else's signature appeared. It did not appear on this column, on this
column
sheet. The presiding officer's signature is missing for this portion because the presiding officer did not write deep enough. When, strangely, you will find out that everybody's name came, everybody's signature is on the ballot sheet as well, and you find out as well that in this particular polling station, you find Nathaniel N.A. Tete. His name as a presiding officer will be there, but the signature will be missing. And then the Electoral Commission says, oh, the 8 was not, it was too much, and so the signature did not appear. What sort of an election did we have?
Nano Kofi, I think that sometimes the Electoral Commission that we are working with, they think that everybody else is a fool. So any other explanation can just go without being questioned. Because if you give such an explanation, even a class 1 child will know that you are lying. You are just searching for an excuse for your inefficiency or for your fraud, your fraudulent act. Because it beat my imagination that such a thing could come from the Electoral Commission that is supposed to have lawyers of high repute who should come with a sane explanation to give to the good people of Ghana rather than such lousy explanation that they are giving to us. I think that this is a straightforward case. It's a case that if they actually believe, if the Electoral Commission actually believe that they have a case, and that all the things that they have done leading to the false declaration of John Mahama as the president of this nation, they could give us certain explanation more than what they are giving us. But you see, at the end of the day, not only did they give us this explanation, but there are other evidence, there are other things that actually shows that this was a calculated orchestra. They had orchestrated this thing and they have come out with that results. Because if it were 1 or 3 or 4 or 5 polling stations that you have such occurrences, you can just ignore it and say that this is a mistake or something. But this is something that is pervasive. It's widespread, the whole country. And if it is that, and the outcome of such, let me in quote, errors, could change the elections results, do you think that as a responsible political party like MPP, we should sit down and say that, the presiding officer didn't, push the pen enough, so because of that, let's forget it. I think that this is something that any sane human being would not take it lightly. The AEC should come again because they still...
Point of information as well for the viewers and the listeners. It's interesting to note that in many of those polling stations where the signatures of the presiding officers are missing, there are serious errors on the pink sheets.
Exactly.
And I have heard a presiding officer say that he was afraid that he would be called and sued. That is why he did not sign.
Because during the training, Dr. Farijan himself made it clear to them that it is criminal to falsify results, and that if you are found out, you could go to jail for a minimum of 5 years. So those who had conscience and knew that there was a possibility there could be legalities decided not to append their signature. But you know what?
That's a theory. That's a hypothesis.
Of course. But you see, any diligent returning officer will not enter the data from any statement of poll if it is not duly signed. You get my point?
Yeah.
Because it is the duty of the returning officer to vet all the entries. These entries are not there for fun. If they were not needed, why would you have to spend money to print such a long thing? Because it is part of the electoral process. And it is the duty of the returning officer to not just look at the last figure and enter. It is the duty of the returning officer to vet through all the figures, do a reconciliation. That is what informed the cancellation of those 2 results in the Brown Alpha region.
Yeah, Brekum.
Yeah.
So, if the returning officer did not sign, if the presiding officer did not sign, how come the returning officer entered? What excuse can you give? It's just like signing a check. It's just writing a check. And because I wrote my name and phone number there and refused to sign, the bank decided to honor the check.
Comedy of errors or a calculated attempt at rigging an election. We'll continue to discuss the EC's response right after this break. Welcome back to Minority Caucus. Today we are discussing the issue of the EC's response. Bear in mind the fact that we are mindful of the fact of the matter, that it is before the court of law, and so we are not going to go into the legalities or otherwise of it. But as they have done, making English and semantics a cause for public display, we are also going to subject that to strict proof and logic test. We are not Professor Emeritus Asiedu Nketia. We do not claim to have complete control of logic and mathematics and law in this country. What we are doing is that as ordinary citizens of the country of Ghana, we are just subjecting this to our own analysis, seeking to point out if there are faults and what the comedy of errors really is. Back to my guest in the studio, Mr. Samajimfi. Today I spent quite a while going through this petition, and it's the response to the petition actually, and it's very, very problematic for me. I'll tell you why. I remember that on the Sunday, we wrote a letter to the Electoral Commission. The NPP, wrote a letter to the Electoral Commission asking for them to stop and do an audit of the figures because there are some mistakes. The Electoral Commission said that the evidence we presented was bogus, and so they went ahead to declare the results. Today, the Electoral Commission, in its own response, paragraph 8, says that, and I'm reading, in answer to paragraph 14 of the petition, The second respondent says that the total number of registered voters that it forwarded to all political parties, including the NPP, was 14 million. And again, I would implore all of you to take your pens and write it out so you can see the differences and the discrepancies. In answer to paragraph 14 of the petition, the second respondent says that the total number of registered voters that it forwarded to all political parties, including the NPP, was 14,031,793. As explained in paragraph 6 above, the figure of 14,158,890, I repeat the figure, 14,158,890 registered voters was stated in the declaration of results was an error occasioned by the picking of the wrong figure. I repeat that the figure of 14,158,890 registered voters stated in the declaration of results was an error occasioned by the picking of the wrong figure. Logic. My thinking is that since they were able to tell us that they don't want to conduct any audit because their figures are correct, this error should not have happened. On that day, the Electoral Commission claimed to be the #1 perfectionist institution in this country. They said there are no problems, there are no issues, we are going ahead. Now, they are telling us that there was an error. I find that unbelievable. But in any case, if they have now admitted that there was an error, then why don't they just humbly go through everything else before they start dismissing?
You see, the whole point is this. If you look at our claim, we gave a vivid explanation on that point, right? And so he realizes that, hey, this one I can't cover. The rest that, because I haven't presented evidence, he's trying to use English and semantics. But this one, we gave a breakdown. And they've been caught in the web. And you know.
And the difference is 127,000.
Yeah.
That's enough to force a runoff.
Why not? Okay? So he should come and justify how come it happened. Because he was saying that he could have made any mistake when we went there. He said, we have made mistakes. Okay? So clearly, this whole thing is either Afrojan doesn't understand what he's doing, or he thinks that the people of Ghana, when we get up in the morning, we wash our face upwards. You understand? Okay? Because in an election where the vote difference, okay, of even 25,000 could declare someone a winner, every single vote or every single calculation should be protected. And again, how come they picked the wrong figure? Is it that there were a lot of figures and he decided that let me pick this one?
Tacha, gambling.
Yes! Because if indeed you are using a proper spreadsheet software to do this, and you inputted the total number of registered voters as you claim to the political parties, as you are inputting, it will be depreciated. It will be telling in percentage points what the voter turnout would be. So how did he pick the figures? I believe that as per our arguments, okay, pointing out that there was on 125 something, he decided to go and
tinker with
it. Because you see, figures don't lie. Once the common denominator changes, every other thing must change. You get the point?
Yeah.
So if the total register changed, every other thing must change.
Shaka.
How come that it fell in line?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Shaka, here's another interesting point. If you remember, we were making arguments about the fact that it seems some fake polling stations were declared. Now, listen to Dr. Kojo Afraijan again. Sorry, Safo Kantanka, because I think he deposed to this petition. Point 23, he makes last statement. For Brekum West constituency, which has 44 polling stations, declaration forms for 45 polling stations were presented. Listen again. Brekum West constituency, which has 44 polling stations, declaration forms for 45 polling stations were presented. On the next page, that is on page 7. For Yendi constituency, which has 93 polling stations, declaration forms for 96 polling stations were presented. Is that justification?
No. I think this clearly...
This goes to confirm that indeed there were ghost polling stations. You says that there are 93, right, polling stations. So what it means that we expect 93 of this. How come they became 96? So he is admitting to our claim that there were some ghost polling stations.
Yet he denies it.
You see, but you see, the fact of the matter is that they are going around saying that some of the polling stations were divided. Even if you go and divide a polling station, it becomes two. So it's no longer one polling station. And there were even definitions. I mean, there were criteria for which a polling station will be divided. So we knew all those polling stations that would be divided. So, for instance, Brekum West, at the end of the day, we expect that even if you divide based on the criteria given, you are going to get 44 polling stations. So how come you ended up getting 45? And that of Yendi, 93, ended up getting. You see, this tells you that, you see, it is not like MPP, we are dreaming, pipe dream, something, or we are just screaming blue metal just because we lost election. Because they are all over the place that we are bad losers and all manner of things. But the evidence that we are presenting, and the way and manner the EC is fumbling in their defense tells you that we actually have a case. Because if you look at all these things, because Iowa Center, for instance, there's a particular police station that we were never even aware of. And at the end of the day, you have only NDC knowing that there are 2 police stations here, there are 3 police stations here. And that cumulated in a lot of cases, the unique numbers have been the same. Because if there is a police station and then nobody knows about that police station, what it means is that the only thing that they can use to cover that police station is to present the same serial number on that police station so that nobody will know at the end of the day. But the number that they got on it will be added to the overall aggregate.
Okay.
And that is what we are talking about.
Now let's address our minds to a very typical issue that has been raised by the NDC. I'm saying the NDC because I'm yet to hear any official of the Electoral Commission address this matter. That no verification, no vote was not critical in this election. This is a document that was presented as part of the response to the petition of the Electoral Commission. If you look at it clearly, you can see all the details there. I do not want it to be said that I'm presenting false documents, and so I want the camera to capture everything as it is. If you look at it critically, you would see that, again, I'm waiting for my cameras, yes. You can see Electoral Commission, PO Box number, press release, and you can see it is stamped. It is part of the documentation that was presented by the Electoral Commission itself to the courts. I'll read you a portion of it. And the statement says that adjournment of poll at polling stations where biometric verification of voters could not be completed. That's the headline. Adjournment of polls at polling station where biometric verification of voters could not be completed. And it says that the Electoral Commission directs as follows. 1. At polling stations where biometric verification of voters could not be completed, and as a result, some voters in the queue could not be processed to vote. Now we are hearing arguments that no verification, no vote was not critical to the election. You cannot subject somebody. What is this?
I think it's clear noise. Because this is CI 75. If you look at the CI 75.
Can I again? Just everybody can quickly take a look at it. CI 75, authentic documents. We are not cooking up any documents as the one. CI 75. It's clear. Very clear.
Yes. This is the instrument that establishes the election. Regulates the election for the 2012 election. And in it, if you look at 32, it says, the voter shall go through a biometric verification process. Shall go through a biometric process. So if in a case, a voter is unable to go through biometric process, it means that that particular voter cannot vote.
And we postponed an entire election because of biometric.
And this instrument is not against the parent law of the land, the constitution. It does not go contrary to the parent law of the land. Because they are all over the place that this is subservient to the constitution, yeah. And if you go contrary to the constitution, this one has to be thrown away. Because the Electoral Commission has been given the powers by the Constitution to go and draft, to go and then bring this.
Precisely Article 57 of the 1992 Constitution.
And they duly brought it and it was approved. And nobody questioned anything out of it. So if at the end of the day, the same Electoral Commission has approved voters who has gone through election without biometric verification, then why did we come up with this instrument? I think it's unconstitutional to do that because, as we said, in Trail or something, in the Brekum, Brekum, some people went through without biometric verification, and the results were duly, nullified. So why would any other person in a different region or constituency go through without biometric verification, and then you accept such results? And this is the decision that we expect the Supreme Court to come out and pronounce on.
You see?
Again, I would want to take a break at this stage, and then when we come back, we'll wrap up everything. But I believe that viewers and listeners, you are beginning to get a clear picture of what it is. Let's break now. Welcome back. I know that you are itching to join the discussion, and we want to invite views from both the NPP and the NDC and any other member of the Ghanaian public. If you have questions as well, you can call in and ask. We would answer them dutifully. The numbers are 030-2117. I'm sorry, I got it wrong. 030-2211-701-224. I repeat it. 030-2211-70124. The text lines have, as always, have continued to remain 1760 all networks. Mr. Asamoah Jemfi, you wanted to make a brief submission?
You see, it is a clear admission that verification was vital. If indeed verification was not vital, the Electoral Commission wouldn't have adjourned it till the following day.
Comedy of errors. EC says there was nothing like no verification, no vote. NDC says yes, there was no verification vote, but it was not essential. I've been informed. We have Randy from Bolga. Randy.
Yeah, Nana.
Yes, boss.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm very fine. And you?
My regards to Asamoah Jemfi and then my other colleague there.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I think that it is pretty obvious that Farijan and his people have missed Ghana so much. I think that Ghanaians must thank the NPP for being so calm and have gone to the court. Had it been others, they would have been on the streets by now, making all the noise, causing chaotic situations. We should be proud of ourselves as NPP people. What we want people to know is that now Afarijan is beginning to accept that he has made certain mistakes.
Yeah.
I believe that when they cross-examine him at the Supreme Court, Ghanaians will now get to know who exactly he is and what he did and mess the whole situation up. If people are telling us we're bad losers, we're not bad losers. If we're bad losers, we would have let everything gone away. But here we are at the Supreme Court. We want people to know that these people actually did not handle the electionary situation so well, and therefore have caused every single Ghanaian whatever we didn't need to know or to get. If 1.34 million votes have added to our total voting population, that is illegal. We don't need it. The law says that if even one single vote adds up to a whole police station, it should be cancelled. That is simple and fact. Cancel them.
Okay.
If they are telling us from CI 75 that no biometric verification, no voting, what is Afarijan telling us?
Okay. Thank you very much because of time constraints. Oredu Daniel from Nkranza, are you around?
Yes, please.
You have the floor.
Yeah, thank you very much, and good evening to your listeners and the panels for the competent and able work they are doing. I am always glad watching you guys on telly doing marvelous work for the party. I am sure right from the word go, the EC had it wrong. Because if you get time to peruse through the response that they have sent, claiming that the NPP has no case, every well-meaning Ghanaian, and it's not necessarily a lawyer, would understand that there is something up the issue is up to. But we would urge you on and also adapt this medium to speak to all party faithful that we should keep on praying and that the battle is the Lord's.
The battle is the Lord's. I like that statement. Okay. Masaudu. Hello, Masaudu. Okay. So, back to it. You were just about to make a very critical statement.
So,
you see,
they are either they are confused. I think they are confused.
They are. They are confused.
You understand? I've not gone to. He said Afarijan is claiming in this that there's no whether say no verification, no vote.
Yeah.
Is that why he's saying?
They've denied the charge.
They've denied the charge.
Yeah. Osman from Wa. Give me a break. Osman. Do I have Osman from Wa on the line?
Yeah, Chief, good evening.
Good evening, Chief. How are you?
Yeah, by His grace, we are fine.
Okay. You have the floor.
Please, I just want to pray for you to continue the work you are doing. But with some of us, we are worried. I just want to plead with you to minimize the evidence you people are bringing out to. Don't mind whatever the NDC people are doing in terms of, they should do their propaganda because at the end of the day, it's the Supreme Court that is judge. Whatever they say, please just shelve your evidence and bring and go to the court so that God will give it the what. The victims that we are looking for. Please just minimize them. Because me, I don't trust them. They can do anything to whatever you want. They can corner you somewhere and they will say I'm Robert or whatever. Please just minimize the evidence. They can to bring it out. We are getting scared because they might not be comfortable with that. So please, I'm just pleading for you to minimize the evidence. Whatever the propaganda they want to do, allow them to do and just minimize the evidence so that God will give us the victory we are looking for. Thank you very much.
Thank you too very much, Osman, for your very kind words that you've had to share with that.
Well, Osman, I can assure you that what we are talking about is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. Okay. Muniche, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still on the line.
Okay. Can I listen to you?
Yes. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. My regards to the panelists and you, the host. Thank you very much for the hard work you people are doing. God bless you for that. But what I have to contribute is to tell you that even though the 1992 Constitution says that age from 18 and above have the right to vote, as the NDC people always say. That Constitution is stated right in the 1992 Constitution. Yeah. But upon all that, they have brought out with this CI 75 to guide this our biometric verification election. You see, if the Constitution was okay, why should they bring the CI 75? So, in fact, they just don't know what to say as of now. They are confused.
Muniche, just to expand on that, those that make that argument are being terribly mischievous. Because the same constitution that says anybody of 18 years and above has the right to register says that the Electoral Commission has the power to make rules and regulations for the conduct of an election. So, two things. The constitution says, yes, anybody who is 18 years and of sound mind has the right to register to vote.
Yes.
But anyway, let me take EY, and then when I'm done, I'll explain. EY from Tamale, are you still there?
I'm still there. Please.
Yes, sir. Fine evening, sir.
Yeah, please, I would like to urge you people to try as much as possible to be truthful to your people. Do you understand? I mean, sometimes we are fed up with all these lies you are just now. What's your problem? You have contested the election and lost. Nana Ado can never be the president of Ghana. Please, just bear out our ears, okay?
Then stop listening.
I'm listening.
Hold on. You are saying that. Hold on. Let's have a little bit of order. You are saying that we've put out a couple of lies. Can you point out one of them to me?
If you consider saying that you have evidence, please. This is not a place to put out your evidence. But if you sit there and you are just making noise like this, why?
Are you surprised? It's from the stable on the NDC.
Okay.
Don't mind.
I will be very glad. You see, such exchanges are very necessary and they are critical for the improvement of our democracy. If you say that I have lied to the people of Ghana, I'll be very glad. if you point out to me or to the entirety of the Ghanaian population what it is that we have lied about. If you cannot do that, do not allow propaganda to seep into your subconsciousness to this level.
Intellectual platform.
It does nobody any good. We have endeavored to show you concrete proof of everything that we have said. I have held all my panelists to great account of everything that they have said, and they've proved it. I do not see where the lies. It's very unfortunate, but I hope that we'll be able to engage more on this. Shaka,
yes,
unfortunately, they have very limited time. In 1 minute, your closing comments.
Yeah, my closing comment is that, the NDC are all over the place defining what verification is. In this context, the CI give us the only verification which is biometrically. So any other verification is neither here nor there. But yesterday we had a press conference that a young patriot, as part of, trying to let the good people of this nation know what is happening and to debunk some of the NDC propaganda. We wanted to do, demonstration, but the police came with a restraining order on us. But yesterday we had a press conference to let the good people know exactly what is happening, because the NDC is all over the place saying that once the president has been sworn in, then it means that finito. It is not. Well, if you look at Article 64 of the Constitution, 64(2) of the Constitution, it tells that no matter what happened to the president, irrespective of what happened, the verdict of the Supreme Court will be supreme. Okay. And another thing too is that the NDC and its cohort are all over the place, that if the verdict comes and it's not in their favor, they will be cool and all manner of things. So we are prevailing on the president to come out publicly to let the whole world know and to commit himself to the outcome of the Supreme Court ruling.
Okay,
because we are in a democracy, and going to court is another way of coaxing the democratic machine of this nation. So if you believe in the rule of law, what you do is that come out and let people know that, okay, no matter the consequences of the court ruling,
I will abide by it.
I will abide by it. Mr. And everybody never will become.
All I want to assure the good people of this country that the battle has not ended.
But it is the Lord's.
It is the Lord's. The NPP, led by Nana Akufo-Addo, Dr. Bawumia, and the National Chairman, Obichebe Lamte, the evidence we have is as solid as the rock of Gibraltar. And that they should not be worried that President Mahama has been sworn in, because we can't have power vacuum. But the reality is that he's a temporary president. In the next 3 months, God willing, and as per the self-inflicting responses of the EC, truth will prevail, and that the good people of this country would witness another swearing in.
And about the joinder that the NDC has, I think the ruling will be tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. There will be a ruling on that matter tomorrow. But so soon we've come to the end of another very exciting program. We believe that these are interesting times for the people of Ghana. Let's enjoy it. Let's follow this court case with all our attention. And in the end, the truth will come out. For us in the MPP, we continue to tell our supporters that do not let anything anger you into violence. Whenever you feel like attacking somebody or doing anything, please go down on your knees and say a prayer. Because so far as we are concerned, the battle is the Lord's. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching the show. My name is Nana Kofi Opondam. I'll catch you again next week. Until then, be good.